Just clearing my throat a second. This is what the table looks like at the end of this weekend's Premier League action. The gap between leaders Liverpool and Arsenal now at 12 points after Arsenal's win, but it still looks all but certain that Liverpool will be crowned champions. The race for European football couldn't be much tighter. Just 5 points separate Chelsea in 4th to Bournemouth in 10th. It means that any of those teams could still secure a Champions League spot next season and have a decent chance of doing so. At the other end of the table, none of the bottom three won. Wolves continue to pull away. They're now 9 points clear of the relegation zone. We will be discussing their survival hopes, which look pretty strong in part 3. First, though, we're going to start with Newcastle United in the race for a Champions League spot yesterday, and they finally ended their 70-year wait for a domestic trophy. Here in the studio with us, Darren Lewis is here, Shay Given is here, still celebrating. A double celebration, St Patrick's Day, and Newcastle getting their first domestic trophy in 70 years.
Wear a full green jumper and maybe black and white at the back.
We were hoping you'd have at least a shamrock pinned on somewhere. Buying into all the stereotypes, that's all we needed.
It's been a good 24 hours.
It's been an excellent 24 hours for Shay. An important righty. It's hard to overstate what that means.
Well, you could see what it meant because it felt, I don't know, even I was watching it, you felt there's a kind of emotion that kind of took over because the people were so happy. And I know people was, obviously people are talking about the League Cup, but for fans, especially in this current climate and how difficult it is to win anything and trying to win the Premier League, and this is why I'm surprised that a lot more of them don't go so hard in the Cups, is that for the fans, they have something to celebrate. They have a day that they could talk about. There's going to be Newcastle fans for years to come who said, I was at Wembley on that day, because that's what it meant. It's like when West Ham won the conference. Yeah. Them teams need to win things, and it was really nice for them to do it. And, they've done it against one of England's greats as well, against Liverpool. It's a big one for them.
A big one for them. And talking of celebration, anyone connected with the club, it's hard to overstate just how big the celebrations were.
This is me being neutral, Kelly. After the game.
That was the coverage. There were 2 Newcastle representatives and 2 Liverpool representatives. So there was plenty of room to be partisan there.
That actual moment you just seen there, it was at the end of the game, we were tucked to the side of the pitch and we're right in the middle of all the Newcastle fans. And one of the guys threw me a scarf on 90th minute, then Liverpool scored, and I was like, I threw the scarf back. 70 years is a long time, and I can see the faces of the fans, and to be fair, I've been there. I've had 2 cup finals, I've had the pain of losing. These fans have had a lifetime of losing, and to actually get the job done, to get their hands on that trophy, you could see the emotions even on me and the fans. It was just immense. Even talking about it, it's still buzzing about it. It's great.
They're talking about a parade with the trophy, possibly after the game when they come back from the international break and from the FA Cup games. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens now in the league and whether or not that's something that can really spur them on, give them confidence, they can ride that wave, or if all that energy and emotion has been expended and could cost them.
Well, again, it's back to Eddie Howe, the manager, who's done an amazing job. He has to get them back down to earth. I think the next game is home to Brentford, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they've won 5 on the bounce.
That's midweek, that one, isn't it?
So it's going to be a tough game. And the parade, I think they're talking about whatever might be the weekend before that. So there'll be lots of celebration. You can imagine the city of Newcastle, even today, they'll still be celebrating now. But yeah, they've got to enjoy the moment, Kelly. 70 years, Eddie Howe will they say, be able to walk on water, be walking across the Tyne if he wanted to today, because, he has dedicated a lot. I know that's his job as a manager, but he's every sort of minute of the day, and lucky enough to spend some time with them after the team and the staff and the players after the game to celebrate, and it's a bit of a party last night, and they were just all emotional, and the hard work that, people don't see. We just see them down, at the weekend for 90 minutes or whatever it is. But the work, the blocks of work they put in behind the scenes is phenomenal, and to give that joy to these fans is very special.
It's really true, because I think if you look at the context of it, he's been with with Newcastle throughout the leagues. He was at Bournemouth before that. And he knows what it is to do the hard yards. His inspirations for Sean O'Driscoll, who is one of his first coaches at Bournemouth, and the basketball coach, John Woodham, who's taught him all about man management, getting into players' lives, understand the players, and really get players to commit to what you're trying to do. And that's what he's done. He's the first English coach to win a trophy for 17 years. Got to go back to Harry Redknapp in 2008 with Portsmouth in the FA Cup. But what he's done with Newcastle, it could electrify the city now. Yeah. They could go on and do anything because of this first.
I think as well, Kels, you can't underestimate with the 70 years and the pressure, and you're going up against Liverpool, who've been brilliant this season. You can't underestimate how that will play on you as a player, to have the weight of that on your shoulders when you're going into that game. And I thought that the way they approached the game, they were very, very much in control of themselves.
It was funny, we spoke the day after, and they played Liverpool about 3 weeks ago at Anfield, and we asked the question about, you know, did he sort of not play a strange team order because Isak didn't start? No, were you trying to lull Liverpool into a false sense of? And he says we had a couple of things. We still wanted to win the game. Don't get me wrong. We didn't throw the game or nothing. But he says there's a few things in that game we didn't do. And yesterday, right, he said they come out of the blocks. Literally, they meant business from the first.
Do you know straight away when the other team's not at it? Because Newcastle looked hungry right from the start, whereas Liverpool didn't quite have that same intensity.
Well, again, you imagine Eddie watching Liverpool midweek, Paris Saint-Germain, extra time, penalties, you know, the emotions of getting knocked out of the Champions League. I think it was a really good time to play them. I really do. I know they're going to win the league. We all believe that, which they deserved as well. They've had a brilliant season. But I think for Eddie Howe and his team, you know, Kelly, it was the perfect time to play them. Probably thought if we come out faster to the blocks and really went quite direct, and Eddie didn't shy away from that. They missed the press, and I just think the energy levels, you know, the midfield, Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton and Tonali midfield were immense, weren't they? Like,
fantastic performance.
The energy levels were all there, as we said. There was all the emotion at the final whistle and in the celebrations, which may well last for a little while now. But they've got 2 weeks with international duty and FA Cup before they're back in Premier League action against Brentford. The thing is that there is the emotion, there's the brilliance of winning a trophy, to take that first piece of silverware, of domestic silverware in 70 years. The practicality of it is Champions League qualification is financially more important. Now, look, that's not the easiest sell in the world to supporters. They're not going to be celebrating finishing in the top 5 with the same excitement that they did with winning a trophy. But this has to turn into results in the league as well, consistently between now and the end of the season, because this is so tight. There isn't any room for anybody to slip up.
No, I mean, you set it up when you were talking about the 5 points between 4th place and 10th place, 7 points if you include Brentford in 11th as well. And as far as Newcastle are concerned, it's quite interesting the psychology of Liverpool going out of the Champions League and how the emotion from that was carried over, the hangover, if you like. Well, maybe it might be that the euphoria from winning this is a momentum driver going into the next few games, because the players will believe they can do anything. They've beaten, take out Trent and Conor Bradley. That's pretty much a full-strength Liverpool side. And they've gone to Wembley. And actually, I know Chiesa scored late on, but they were full value for the 2-1 win. I think they were value for a bit more, actually. And I just think the quality is in the side. After Brentford, they got Leicester 0 afterwards. Sorry, Leicester. But they don't score any goals, and they always concede goals. So I thought that was quite
Yeah, so did I.
It's
It came late to me for some reason.
Yeah, me too. That was good. Now we've got it ready.
Now we can laugh.
Yeah.
I'm quite interested to see how Newcastle react to that win, because, like Darren rightly says, the euphoria of that win, and there's almost like a valve that's released, like, we can react. You don't want to relax now. I think they should use the energy they had leading into such a big game with such pressure, and overcame it. That's what they should bring now into the league, because you look at it, there's so many teams that could be involved in that. Even you look at Brighton. Brighton could be amongst it. It's like.